Welcome to Yogalates with SJ. So today we have a 30-minute full body workout at home Pilates. You don't need any equipment for the workout today, but if you would like to, of course, you can add in any kind of weights, maybe some ankle weights, wrist or hand weights, but you don't need these at all. Totally over to you. I'm just going to be using some ankle weights. And if you want to grab weights, you might just like to pause the video, take some time to come down to your mat. We're going to be starting in standing today. This is a low impact workout, so we are not going to be jumping around, but we're certainly going to be creating a lot of heat in the body. We're going to be toning every single muscle. Now, we also just want to use some kind of prop. It might be a ball, a firm cushion, maybe a small bolster. I'm going to be using a little bolster. So you might just like to grab hold of that. And then we're going to just come to stand on our mat. We're going to bring the feet about hip distance apart, finding a neutral pelvis here. Core is engaged, shoulders are down and away from the ears. Hips are nice and square to the side of the mat. Taking a moment to find weight is balanced through both feet. We're going to start to bring the arms back, and then you're circling the arms forward as you start to come all the way down and then rolling back up. So starting to bring the arms all the way forward as you come down into a forward fold, and then you are rolling the spine, coming all the way back up to standing. It's a full roll down and a full roll up, making sure the chin is tucked down towards the chest and the head is the last to arrive. You're stacking the vertebra here as you roll up, finding some length as you come all the way up to standing, reaching the arms. Now we're staying here. You're starting to bring the arms forward, and then you are pressing the palms to the back of the room as you come back up again. So you're keeping your legs straight, and you are just hinging back at the hips, bringing the arms forward, and then pressing those palms to the back as you start to bring the hips forward. Just making sure here that we're not locking out those knees, even though we do have straight legs. So keeping a very soft micro bend into the knees. And then you're starting to press all the way back using your tricep muscles. Awesome. Staying here, guys, we're bringing the palms inward. And then you are staying in this hinge position where the hips are coming back. Palms are facing up, and you're starting to just bring the little pinky fingers into the sideways. The elbows are going straight back. I want you to keep your head in the same line as the rest of the back. So you've got length through the back of the neck. You're really pressing those hips to the back of the room. And you're squeezing into the back of the arm muscles here, reaching the arms forward and then pulling in. Awesome work. Staying here, guys, and flipping those palms. And we're going to start to sit down into a really deep squat and then pressing all the way back up as you press the palms to the back of the room. Sitting down into that squat and then coming back. Starting to press those arms back and lowering down and pressing back up. Awesome. Powering up. Really, really feeling into the glutes as you press up to standing. Sitting the pelvis all the way back down into kind of a chair position. So you're really, really working into the back of those glutes. Awesome. Now we're going to stay down in this squat position. You're starting to just bring the palms to face down, and you're circling the arms around, and then you're flipping the palms as you bring the arms forward. And then you are bringing the palms to face down and circling all the way around, bending through those elbows, coming back. Awesome. And release here, you guys. Just coming down into a forward fold, lifting the pelvis towards the ceiling, letting the head go, cleansing breaths, and then coming all the way back up to standing. Grabbing hold of your prop. We're just going to bring your right foot onto that prop. And we are starting to lower down into that squat. So we've got one foot elevated and we are sitting down, keeping the hips nice and square. You're bringing the arms back as you press up to standing. Now staying down, we are just pulsing, tiny little pulses up and down. Keep it going, breathing, guys, in through the nose, out the nose or mouth, and then you are pressing all the way back up to standing. Awesome. We're going to start a little lunge. So keeping that foot elevated, and you're stepping your left foot back tucking the toes, and then you are powering back up again. So keeping your hips nice and square, it is a lunge back with that left foot, and you are using your glute muscles, all of the muscles through the right leg to power you back up to standing, keeping your core engaged, belly button to spine, keeping length through the whole back, keeping your head in a nice neutral here. Make sure you're breathing. Exhale as you come up. Inhale as you lower down with control. Beautiful work. We're really creating heat here. We are getting it done in only 30 minutes. Awesome. Next time you come back, guys, just making those little pulses, tiny little pulses. Accent is in the down. So really focusing on that tiny little pulse down and a small lift up. Awesome. Now let's do a little curtsy here. So starting to step the left toes back, and then you're pressing back up to return the foot to be in line with the other foot. Awesome. Keeping this going, keeping your hips nice and square the whole time. Trying to keep that core engaged, not letting that go, dropping down into a depth of lunge that feels okay for you, that feels challenging. You don't need to come down super low if you don't want to. Just making sure that that front knee is not going too far forward. Awesome. Let's stay here in this curtsy and just little pulses, tiny pulses, and release. Well done. Coming up. That was challenging. Just taking a moment here to take a break, forward fold, releasing the pelvis to the sky, and then coming all the way back up when you're ready. We're going to switch sides. So starting to bring your left foot onto your support here, and we are dropping down into that squat. Just making sure you're really sitting back into the heels. So we're not letting those knees come forward of the toes, trying to keep the knees in line with the ankles as much as possible. And keeping that core engaged. Awesome. And next time you come down, just starting those little pulses down. Accent is in the down, so thinking about tiny little pulses down and up and down and up. Keep it going, breathing. Awesome. And pressing back up. Let's come into that lunge. So we're straight into it, stepping the right toes back, dropping the knee as you start to just come straight down into that lunge position, and you're powering back up, letting the foot come back in line with the other foot. Awesome. Keep it going, breathing, staying strong, not collapsing down anywhere. We're keeping everything nice and strong here. Shoulders relaxed, jaw is relaxed. Dropping it down and press it back up. Awesome. Let's stay down. Next time you come down, we're going to stay in that little pulse up and down. Keep it going, breathing in through the nose, out through the nose or mouth. Keep it going, breathing, and curtsy. Let's go. Stepping straight back into that curtsy. Awesome. Trying to keep those hips square. So we are keeping the whole torso and the hips square as much as possible to the side edge of that mat. We're not letting that front knee go forward. We are sitting down, so we're going straight down and powering back up. Awesome. So good. Super challenging with that elevation of the foot, particularly if you have a ball. It's even more challenging because you're really needing to balance even more. So next time you come down, guys, we're going to stay here and just making those little pulses. Keep it going, breathing in and breathing out. You can do it, staying low and release, coming all the way back up. Well done. Good job. Just taking a moment here to take a break, folding down into a forward fold. You can release your prop off to one side and just taking some time to wiggle through the jaw, letting the head and neck go, allowing the arms to ragdoll down, allowing the belly to release, and then coming all the way back up to standing. We're starting to step the left toes to point to the outside of the mat, and the arch of the right foot is in line with the left heel. We're just starting to lift the heel up, and you're starting to just make little pulses. So it's just very, very small pulses through that left side, keeping the hips square to the side of the mat, and then coming back through center. Toes are pointing to the outer edges of the mat. reaching the arms up as you inhale, exhale as you float the arms down, coming to a nice wide leg forward fold here. You might take hold of somewhere on the outside of the legs, maybe making a little bit of movement here, swaying side to side, anything that feels good as you just let the pelvis release up towards the ceiling. Taking some really deep breaths in through the nose and out the nose or mouth. And then when you're ready, rolling the spine, coming all the way back up to standing. Let's go to the other side with that little pulse. So just lifting the right heel up and starting to just make those little pulses. Awesome. Keeping nice and square through the hips here, keeping your core engaged, tiny little pulses, and then coming down. We're going to start to come to a sumo squat, so bringing the toes to be out and the heels to be in as you start to drop down into your squat, bringing the arms up overhead and then bending through the knees as you bring the hands together in prayer, and then reaching the arms up as you lengthen up into the spine, pressing back up. So really working into your glutes here. We're also opening up the hips in this, and we're also squeezing into those inner thighs, and the pelvic floor is lifting up almost as though you're zipping up through that center line, feeling that really beautiful line coming all the way up towards the ceiling and then sitting all the way down into your squat. Trying to keep the head and the heart and the pelvis all in one nice long line, so we're not coming too far forward here. Really keeping everything nice and long and lengthened up. Using the glute muscles to lift, lift, lift. Inhale, exhale, sitting down. Staying here, guys, you know what's coming. We are pulsing, tiny little pulses, little baby pulses. Keep it going. Breathing in, breathing out, staying low, and let's lift the heels. So lifting one heel up, lowering it down, and then lifting the other heel up, lowering it down, staying low in that squat, you guys, keeping everything nice and open here. You've got the hips open. You are squeezing into the calf muscles, keeping the knees open wide and releasing. Beautiful work. Straightening the legs, letting the pelvis come towards the ceiling as you find a nice forward fold here. Taking a break, breathing in and breathing out. Starting to heel toe the feet so that the toes are pointing forward. And you're just taking a moment here to find a beautiful release, forward fold. Then we're starting to walk the hands over to the left side. And you're just starting to bring the fingertips anywhere that you feel to. It might be onto the mat. It might be onto the leg somewhere. We're just starting to find some lengthening out here through the whole back. Taking some deep breaths as you bring the head towards that left leg, and then you can walk the hands over to the other side when you're ready, and doing the same on that right side. So just finding almost as though you're bringing everything into the center line. At the same time, you're bringing the hands over to that right leg, maybe holding on to somewhere on the leg, or you might be having the hands down onto the mat. Then we're coming back through center and letting the arms relax down, maybe connecting the hands to the mat. Any kind of movement into the head and neck that feels good. Breathing deeply in and fully out. When you're ready, guys, coming to a kneeling position. You can either tuck the toes or you can have the tops of the feet connected onto the mat. We've got the knees about hip distance apart. I want you to find a core engagement here. Bring the hands onto the hips. And we are going to start to bring the arms up as you sweep the arms, looking up towards the hands. Exhale, bringing the arms down. Inhale, bringing the arms forward. Exhale as you roll the shoulders back and down. And then inhale, arms come forward. Exhale, bringing the shoulders all the way up and releasing the shoulders down. So all the movement here is coming from those shoulders, even though the arms are lengthened out. Not locking into the elbows. We want to really find some beautiful mobility through those shoulders. Keeping your core engaged, keeping the ribs closed, keeping a neutral pelvis. You're not popping the tailbone back and you're not tucking the tailbone under. You're sort of coming to that in-between point of having the pelvis back and having the pelvis tucked. out. Awesome. And let's go forward with this. So starting to bring the arms back and then bringing the arms forward and down, working through those shoulders. Breathing in as you bring the arms all the way forward. Exhale as you lower the arms down. Keeping the head in a neutral position. Shoulders are relaxed. We're moving through those shoulders. Lifting up out of the pelvic floor. Feeling that zip up all the way through that center line as you engage into the core. Pelvis and the core muscles are needing to really kind of stabilize you here. So this is also core work. Awesome. Coming back through center, guys, and just starting to let those shoulders release down the back, finding that long line. We're starting to reach the left arm up and coming up and over to the side here, and then inhale back through center, and you are coming up and over to the other side, gazing underneath the arm. So keeping this going and seeing if you can keep length. So it's almost like you're coming up towards the ceiling and then you are coming up and over a ball. So we want to really just find length through the side waist. We aren't trying to sort of break in half here with this, so it's more lengthening up and over rather than sort of trying to press over to one side. Keeping the hips square, keeping the pelvis neutral, finding a bit more openness through the front side of those shoulders and through the heart. Finding a beautiful gaze up and releasing down and coming up and over. Awesome. And then coming back through center. Bring the arms out into a T, and then you are starting to flip those palms, and we are just bringing the arms forward and pinky fingers come together, and then opening the arms back out into that T with the palms up. Keeping this going, making sure you're not locking into the elbow joints. We are working into all of the muscles through the arms. And then we are flipping those palms and continuing with this. So the palms are facing down now and bringing the arms forward and then bringing those elbows to come back and finding that length from fingertips to fingertips, keeping some space between the chin and the chest, keeping that neutral pelvis, breathing in, breathing out. Awesome, you guys. And then when you're ready, we're going to stay here. You're going to start to make little circles, tiny little circles forward, keeping the arms in the T shape and working into those shoulder muscles. Keep it going. Breathing in, breathing out, and reverse it. Go back the other way. Tiny little circles backwards, working into those shoulder muscles. Working into all the muscles through the arms and then flipping the palms, starting to bicep curl it in. So you're starting to bend through the elbows, squeezing into those bicep muscles as you bring the hands to come in and then opening back out. Bringing your mind to the muscles that we're working. Now I want you to stay here and you're starting to bring the forearms to come in, palms come together, elbows come together, and then you're opening the heart out, bringing the arms back out into your cactus. Using all the muscles through the front side of the chest here. And then we're starting to bring the arms down. So good, you guys. Bringing the arms behind you and just starting to make tiny little pulses backwards. So we're working through the tricep muscles, the muscles through the back of the arm. And you're starting to just make those tiny little pulses, really squeezing into those tricep muscles. Keep it going. Breathing in, breathing out, breathing in, breathing out. Shoulders are away from the ears. Now let's start to cross the hands. So you're starting to just alternate crossing. It's a very small movement in and out. You don't have to bring the hands to fully cross behind your back. It's just a motion that we're making here, really squeezing into the back of those arms and then release, palms facing forward, shoulders are open. And you're starting to bring the arms all the way forward as you bring the chin down towards the chest, and then inhale as you bring the arms up, looking up towards the ceiling, and then rounding the spine as you start to bring the chin to chest and come all the way down. Arms come down. Just finding some nice mobility through the top of the back and the back of of the neck. Then you're coming all the way down this time, bringing the palms down to the mat and then rolling the spine, coming all the way back up. And then coming forward, bringing the arms to come forward, sitting the hips back towards the heels. And then you're starting to draw up from the pelvic floor and starting to lengthen the spine back up again. It's almost a little bit of a child's pose kind of shape, but on the knees. So you're really bringing the hips back as you come down, and then you are starting to roll the spine. Awesome, you guys. Let's come down to a seat. We're going to take our prop, whether it be your ball, your cushion, or your bolster. And of course, if you don't have a prop here, that's all good. You can just do this without. We're just starting to find a butterfly position. So bringing the soles of the feet together, the knees out wide, letting the outside of those thighs relax to either side. Finding length up into the spine, sitting up nice and tall as you inhale. And as you exhale, just starting to walk the hands forward and starting to let the chin come down towards the chest as you release the head down, maybe holding on to somewhere on the feet. If that feels good, you can find some roundness into the spine here. Once you kind of get as far out as what the hips want to bring you, you can just kind of just release down. Taking some nice breaths here in through the nose and out through the nose or mouth. And then when you're ready, coming all the way back up to seated, lengthening up and bringing the feet out wide, toes turned out, heels slightly turned in, sitting up nice and tall here, and you're starting to walk the hands forward, keeping length into the spine as you hinge forward at the hips, and then exhale as you start to release down, letting the hands come down, letting the head release, allowing everything to soften, allowing an openness through the hips, allowing a beautiful release of the belly. And then on an inhale, starting to gaze up towards your feet, finding a length through the back of the legs. Just having a little flex through the toes to protect the knee joints. And just staying with this nice fold. So just starting to walk the hands forward, and as you exhale, starting to release the body to come a little further forward. If you want to play around with working with your breath here, you might just inhale, gaze up, exhale, walking the hands a little further forward, and just continuing with that. You might just stay in stillness. When you're ready, guys, we're going to come all the way back up. Taking your time, you can come off of any prop that you may have been sitting up on. We're going to find a really nice open heart here, opening up the whole front side of the body and kind of releasing through the back as well. So you're just bringing your prop, if you have one, we're just starting to bring it so that the top end of it is just below the shoulder blades. And then we're just starting to let the legs go long if you like here, or if it feels a little bit too much to do that, you can have the soles of the feet still on the mat with a bend in the knees. We're just bringing the arms out nice and wide, palms facing up. Just allowing the whole body to start to relax down here as you find a beautiful open heart and an open pelvis, feeling the outside of the feet relaxing to either side, the outer thighs. Maybe letting the head roll over to the right, and just allowing the right side of the head to soften even further to the right. Breathing in, breathing out, relaxing, relaxing. And then on an inhale, coming back through center with the head. Exhale as you allow the head to gently release to the left side. Finding a deep breath here. In through the nose, and as you exhale it out, feeling the whole back body releasing, releasing, releasing. The outside of the shoulder blades, starting to wrap around the outside edges of the support. Pelvis heavy, relaxing. Taking your time, guys, when you're ready. We're going to come to do a little bit of core work. We're coming nearly to the end of the workout, so you're doing so awesome. If you have ankle weights on here, you might take them off or you might keep them on. if you want to make this more intense. We're starting to just lengthen your right leg long, and you're bringing your left knee to a tabletop. And we're just starting to lower that right leg down as we bring the left knee in, and then the right leg comes in as the left leg goes long. Just keeping this going, keeping your core engaged the whole time, making sure you've got that neutral pelvis here. So we don't want to be kind of popping the ribs out here. We want to keep the belly button to spine. We want to make sure that we have got a full connection of the core the whole time. So you don't need to lower the legs down too low. You can keep them quite high here. It can be a very small movement, working with where you can keep that control through the core. Awesome. Keeping length through the back of the neck. And when you're ready, you can bring both knees in, having a hug of those knees. Any kind of movement here that feels good. Taking some nice deep breaths in through the nose and out the nose or mouth. Then we're going to do a double leg. So bringing both legs into a tabletop position, and then you're lengthening the legs up, and then you're starting to bring the legs forward, and then bringing the knees in, and then straightening the legs up, pointing the toes up towards the ceiling. Again, this can be a very small movement, so it can just be a little movement out and a little movement in. And we want to make sure we have control of the core muscles the whole time. I don't want you to bring any tension into the low back. So if you're noticing any tension coming into your low back here with this, really important to modify and just work with smaller movements, or you can take a break. So good. This is pretty intense for the core. Now we're going to go to the other side with the left leg long, and the right knee comes in to that tabletop position. So bringing the right knee in towards the belly as the left leg goes long, and you're switching. The left leg comes in and the right leg goes long. We're nearly there, you guys. You've done so awesome today. You should be so proud of the work that you've done here. Just a couple more before we will be releasing and just taking a nice stretch. And bring it down. Hugging the knees in. Maybe a little rock from side to side. You might find a nice recline butterfly position, or you might come up to seated and find butterfly in a seated position. Maybe finding happy baby, anything that feels really good in your body today. It was so awesome to have you join me today. I can't wait to see you again soon. Have the best rest of your day. Namaste.